It was lunchtime at the kindergarten. Little Harry had woken up in a bad mood and now sat unhappily at the table, picking at his food with a fork, not wanting to eat, and rocking in his chair. He kept glancing at the big clock in the dining room. His mom had explained many times that when the little hand pointed to 5 and the big hand pointed to 12, she would pick him up from kindergarten. He looked at the clock and desperately missed his beloved mother. The kindergarten caregiver, Mrs. Peterson, looked at him sternly and said, "Harry, this happens again and again. Eat your food. What an unbearable child. When your mom comes to pick you up, I'll tell her how you almost ripped Peter's hood off. When will you start behaving normally?" By evening, all the parents had picked up their children, and only little Harry was left, crying and clinging to his caregiver. He didn't understand why his mother wasn't there yet. Mrs. Peterson was furious because she had many things to do at home, but Harry's mother was always late. Finally, a woman ran into the kindergarten yard. The wind had messed up her hair and her cheeks were red. She was trying to catch her breath and hugged her son. "Harry, my sunshine, I'm so sorry. I had to stay late at work, and then I waited a long time for the bus. Please don't cry. I promise this was the last time." Mrs. Peterson grumbled, "The last time? At least don't lie to your child. The same thing happens every day. Other parents have time to pick up their children, or they ask their grandparents or nannies to do it. Only you are always late." Suddenly, Nora got angry as well. "Excuse me, but what if we don't have grandparents? My husband left us too, so I have to work all the time to provide my son with a good future. That's why I take my child to kindergarten, because I need someone to look after him. It's your job, and you're paid for it. Besides, the kindergarten is open until 6. The teacher changed her tone, shocked by this conversation, and began to speak more peacefully about Harry's fight with another boy today, saying that Nora needed to do something about her son. Finally, Nora picked up her child, and they walked out of the kindergarten. Harry was crying the whole time, making excuses and saying that Peter was the first to start the fight. Suddenly tired, Nora sat on a bench, covered her face with her hands, and burst into tears. Lately she had a lot of problems. Her husband had recently left her, she was always short of money, she was in trouble at work, and her son didn't even try to make her life any easier. The crying child looked at her fearfully, then fell silent, hugged her tightly, and said seriously, "Forgive me, Mommy. I won't fight anymore. Just don't cry. Are you so upset because of me? I don't want you to cry. If someone hurts you, just tell me, and I'll protect you." Nora immediately smiled, wiped her tears, exhaled, and kissed her son. "Dear, I'm not crying anymore. You're my hero, a real man. No more tears. Let's go home. I bought you socks with kittens so your feet don't get cold." The evening passed quickly. Nora put Harry to bed but felt sad again. She wanted to watch a movie about love, but her thoughts were occupied with the events of the day, and she couldn't think about anything else. Nora had been working as an accountant for a small private company for several years. The salary was good, but it was hard to get sick leave. Besides, they could summon her to work even on her day off. Because of this, she never picked Harry up from kindergarten on time and often didn't know who to ask to babysit him. Today, Nora was on her way to the boss's office to tell him that she could no longer stay late at the office. After all, she had a work schedule. However, there was a stormy discussion going on in the office. Nick wasn't there, but his chief accountant, the head of the marketing department, and his deputy were. What they were talking about shocked Nora. They were preparing a plan to bankrupt their boss and steal the profits using fake accounts of non-existent companies. It was absolutely outrageous. Nora quietly left and waited for her boss to arrive. As soon as she saw him in the parking lot, she immediately ran up to him. She was very nervous and began to tell him everything in a confused manner, but for some reason, Nick became angry. It was clear that he didn't believe her and began to reprimand her. "You know, Nora, I hate employees who don't analyze a situation, accuse other people, and moreover, eavesdrop on other people's conversations. I trust my deputy and other managers as much as I trust myself. They have been working on my team for years. I don't know why you're doing this. But I don't believe you. You should be doing your job instead of eavesdropping on other people's conversations." Nora felt incredibly ashamed. She cried out in tears, "I only wanted to warn you." Nora was sure that the boss would be mad at her now and maybe even fire her. Her job was very important to her, and she was afraid of losing it. Unfortunately, her fears came true, and after a couple of days she was fired under false pretenses. They didn't even explain anything to her. Nora was in despair. She cried and tried to find a new job. She saw many vacancies, but she was only offered a job at a cleaning company. The woman had to go to clients' homes and do any housework they told her to do. At first it seemed humiliating. She hated this job, especially since 90% of the customers were men. Sometimes the demands were too strange. For example, once she had to cook dinner and look angrily at the drunken owner of the house because his ex-wife used to do it. But sometimes she just had to clean the house and cook something. She was new to the company, so she got the worst customers in the most distant parts of the city, but there was one major advantage to this job: Nora could now pick up her son from kindergarten on time. The schedule was flexible and very convenient, but she had a university degree in accounting and didn't really want to do this kind of work. One day, the company received a call from a strange customer who wanted to see only Nora in his house and no one else, promising a generous payment. Nora didn't understand anything, but she needed the money badly, so she didn't hesitate to go to that strange man's house. She was met by an old, overweight man who introduced himself. "Good afternoon, Nora. My name is Philip. I am the owner of a company named Chance." The woman was puzzled. "How do you know my name?" "Actually, I don't need to know who you are. Just show me what I have to do. I have all the equipment with me and I need to get everything done in 2 hours. The man looked at her strangely and said, "Take a seat, Nora, and listen to what I'm about to tell you. I invited you here for a reason. The truth is that I am your biological father. I know you're shocked, but it's true. I guess your mom never told you about me. And I understand why. She had a good reason to be mad at me, but that's all in the past. We were young and stupid back then. I have recently returned from another country where I lived for many years, and I decided to find you. It so happened that you are my only daughter and heir. I found out everything about you, and I want to help you. Since you and Harry are living in a tiny rented apartment, I purchased a nice spacious apartment for you." Philip chuckled. "I understand and accept your decision. I know that I'm a terrible father. You didn't even know about me, and neither did I about you, so that's okay. We both need time, but you're a lot like me. And you have the same strong personality, so we'll find common ground quickly. When should I send a driver? I think you should move into your new apartment today." Nora started working at her father's company. At first, everything seemed decent: a cozy office, respectful treatment of visitors, many activities and learning courses for employees, and a huge number of customers. However, after reading the contract several times, which she herself prepared according to the template, Nora could not understand the essence. Where did people bring their money, and what did they get in return? It was so confusing. Only a few months later, the woman realized it was a typical pyramid scheme. It was a fake company that even had a fake address on all the documents. Nora was shocked. She loved the job, and Harry loved living in a spacious, comfortable apartment, but she was alarmed by the fact that Philip was in no hurry to tell her anything about himself. He rarely visited, treated Harry well, but never showed any genuine emotion. Suddenly, the woman wondered, what if Philip wasn't her father but just a crook who hired her to set her up later? Nora felt sick. On Friday, she lied to her father, saying she was going to her friend's house with Harry, but she went to her mom in the village. Nora had to ask her about her father, to see his picture, and to find out who she was dealing with. On the way to the village, the woman was very nervous because she and her mother had not communicated for so long. Heavy childhood memories came to her mind. It so happened that Nora had lacked a mother's love and affection from an early age. Her mom was always disappointed with her, even if the girl wanted to help with the household chores. Instead of gratitude, she heard only accusations and grumblings. "Who washes dishes like that? I'd rather do it myself. Why are you so clumsy?" It was like that with everything. Nora was deeply hurt. She tried to earn praise by all means, but it rarely happened. Her mother also scolded her for bad results at school. "Why are you so stupid? You won't get into any university, Nora. You'll stay in this remote village and work on the farm forever. Look at me. Do you want a life like that for yourself?" After the prom, Nora wanted to go anywhere, as far away from home as possible. Eventually, she entered a good university, finished her studies successfully, got her diploma, and called her mom in excitement. "Mommy, you can congratulate me. I already got my diploma. They even promised me an internship at a big successful company, so I'll definitely have a job in the city now. But I have to rent a place to live, but that's okay. I'll cope. Nora waited for praise, but Kate sighed heavily and began to grumble as usual. It's good that you got your degree, but they will probably fire you right away because you have no work experience at all. Moreover, accounting is not that easy. You won't cope. Nora was hurt to hear this. She got angry, hung up the phone, and decided never to call her mom again. Soon she started working at that very company, learned everything, and a couple of months later she met Alex, her first love. He was 10 years older than her, worked as a driver, and had been married once before meeting Nora. The man always complained that his first wife was sloppy and constantly demanded something from him, so he divorced that terrible woman. Alex courted her in a very beautiful way. He sang her romances about love under the guitar. His voice was simply mesmerizing, and they used to drive around the city at night together. The man's intentions were more than serious. Soon, the couple had a wedding. Nora's mom was there too. She liked Alex a lot. It was probably the first time she was genuinely happy for her daughter. However, even at the wedding she said, "Look, daughter, he's a decent man, hardworking, and he doesn't even drink alcohol. Do everything possible so that he doesn't leave you for another woman. Hurry up and have a baby. Then he will definitely not go anywhere otherwise. You'll end up a single mom like me." Do you have any idea how hard that is? They began to live in Alex's apartment. At first, everything was fine love, tenderness, an interesting life full of bright emotions. Soon, Nora got pregnant and was very happy about it. She gave birth to a son. Alex was very happy and helped her with everything. The baby was healthy and calm. It was a little difficult to cope with everything, but the couple was doing fine together. Everything changed when Alex decided to buy an expensive car. Both spouses had average salaries, and it was unrealistic to save that much money. Then Alex decided to change his job and started traveling to other cities. He was paid decently for each trip, but Nora didn't like such a life. Now she had to take care of the baby and the apartment alone. She missed her husband and was always nervous. Nora and Alex started fighting all the time. Soon, the woman began to notice that Alex returned from his trips in a very strange condition, often quarreling, and his income decreased a lot. Harry missed his daddy a lot, talked nonstop, and hugged him, but Alex didn't want to play with the baby and only grumbled. "Nora, take the baby away. I'm very tired. Let me get some rest." The woman was angry too. "What are you tired of? Do you think I spend all day resting? Do you know how hard it is for me to cope with everything alone? I can't even leave Harry alone for a minute. Alex, I don't recognize you. We haven't seen each other for a week. And you didn't even kiss me when we met. Maybe you have another woman." The man looked at Nora in a strange way, lowered his gaze and said, "Honey, don't talk nonsense. Come to me, I will kiss you. What's for dinner today?" However, Nora's gut didn't deceive her, and one day Alex came home with another woman and calmly said, "This is Lisa. We love each other, and she will be living here now." "I'm sorry, Nora, but we're getting a divorce." The woman was shocked and tried to object. "Wait, what do you mean she'll be living here? What about Harry and me? Where are we going to go?" "Alex, come to your senses. What the hell are you doing? Kick this woman out of here. We're a family. We have a son. I just don't believe you would do this to me and Harry." But Nora's spouse responded sharply, "Nora, calm down. This is my apartment. You have nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, but you have to leave. We're not a family anymore. We're just strangers. Every time I come home, you start grumbling and fighting. You and I don't remember what love is anymore. I'm not kicking you out right now. Rent an apartment and then move out. I'll pay for the first month. I'll pay child support too. I'm not giving up my son. Don't you get it? With Lisa, I feel like a real man. She truly loves me. She's not like you." Nora cried and packed her belongings. "No way. I'm not staying here for a second. I'm not going to live with you and your mistress in the same apartment. You know, Alex, later you'll realize what a mistake you made, but it'll be too late. I'll never forgive you." Little Harry was crying loudly. He saw that Daddy and Mommy were fighting and felt something bad was happening. Nora was not going to give up and go back to her village. On the contrary, she stayed at her friend's house for a few days and then rented an apartment on the outskirts of the city. The divorce process was very stressful. The woman lost a lot of weight because of stress and because now. Who washes dishes like that? I'd rather do it myself. Why are you so clumsy? It was like that with everything. Nora was deeply hurt. She tried to earn praise by all means, but it rarely happened. Her mother also scolded her for bad results at school. Why are you so stupid? You won't get into any university, Nora. You'll stay in this remote village and work on the farm forever. Look at me. Do you want a life like that for yourself? After the prom, Nora wanted to go anywhere, as far away from home as possible. Eventually, she entered a good university, finished her studies successfully, got her diploma, and called her mom in excitement. Mommy, you can congratulate me. I already got my diploma. They even promised me an internship at a big successful company, so I'll definitely have a job in the city now. But I have to rent a place to live. But that's okay. I'll cope. Nora waited for praise, but Kate sighed heavily and began to grumble as usual. It's good that you got your degree, but they will probably fire you right away because you have no work experience at all. Moreover, accounting is not that easy. You won't cope. Nora was hurt to hear this. She got angry, hung up the phone, and decided never to call her mom again. Soon, she started working at that very company, learned everything, and a couple of months later she met Alex, her first love. He was 10 years older than her, worked as a driver, and had been married once before meeting Nora. The man always complained that his first wife was sloppy and constantly demanded something from him, so he divorced that terrible woman. Alex courted her in a very beautiful way. He sang her romances about love under the guitar. His voice was simply mesmerizing, and they used to drive around the city at night together. The man's intentions were more than serious. Soon, the couple had a wedding. Nora's mom was there too. She liked Alex a lot. It was probably the first time she was genuinely happy for her daughter. However, even at the wedding, she said, "Look, daughter, he's a decent man, hardworking, and he doesn't even drink alcohol. Do everything possible so that he doesn't leave you for another woman. Hurry up and have a baby, then he will definitely not go anywhere otherwise. You'll end up a single mom like me." Do you have any idea how hard that is? They began to live in Alex's apartment. At first, everything was fine: love, tenderness, an interesting life full of bright emotions. Soon, Nora got pregnant and was very happy about it. She gave birth to a son. Alex was very happy and helped her with everything. The baby was healthy and calm. It was a little difficult to cope with everything, but the couple was doing fine together. Everything changed when Alex decided to buy an expensive car. Both spouses had average salaries, and it was unrealistic to save that much money. Then Alex decided to change his job and started traveling to other cities. He was paid decently for each trip, but Nora didn't like such a life. Now she had to take care of the baby in the apartment alone. She missed her husband and was always nervous. Nora and Alex started fighting all the time. Soon, the woman began to notice that Alex returned from his trips in a very strange condition, often quarreling, and his income decreased a lot. Harry missed his daddy a lot, talked nonstop, and hugged him, but Alex didn't want to play with the baby and only grumbled. "Nora, take the baby away. I'm very tired. Let me get some rest." The woman was angry too. "What are you tired of? Do you think I spend all day resting? Do you know how hard it is for me to cope with everything alone? I can't even leave Harry alone for a minute. Alex, I don't recognize you. We haven't seen each other for a week. And you didn't even kiss me when we met. Maybe you have another woman." The man looked at Nora in a strange way, lowered his gaze, and said, "Honey, don't talk nonsense. Come to me. I will kiss you. What's for dinner today?" However, Nora's gut didn't deceive her, and one day Alex came home with another woman and calmly said, "This is Lisa. We love each other and she will be living here now. I'm sorry, Nora, but we're getting a divorce." The woman was shocked and tried to object. "Wait, what do you mean she'll be living here? What about Harry and me? Where are we going to go? Alex, come to your senses. What the hell are you doing? Kick this woman out of here. We're a family. We have a son. I just don't believe you would do this to me and Harry." But Nora's spouse responded sharply, "Nora, calm down. This is my apartment. You have nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, but you have to leave. We're not a family anymore. We're just strangers. Every time I come home, you start grumbling and fighting. You and I don't remember what love is anymore. I'm not kicking you out right now. Rent an apartment and then move out. I'll pay for the first month. I'll pay child support too. I'm not giving up my son. Don't you get it? With Lisa, I feel like a real man. She truly loves me. She's not like you." Nora cried and packed her belongings. "No way. I'm not staying here for a second. I'm not going to live with you and your mistress in the same apartment. You know, Alex, later you'll realize what a mistake you made, but it'll be too late. I'll never forgive you." Little Harry was crying loudly. He saw that Daddy and Mommy were fighting and felt something bad was happening. Nora was not going to give up and go back to her village. On the contrary, she stayed at her friend's house for a few days and then rented an apartment on the outskirts of the city. The divorce process was very stressful. The woman lost a lot of weight because of stress and because now she was both dad and mom to her son. Gradually, everything got better except that Harry missed his father very much and Nora had problems with her job. It was the most difficult time in Nora's life, and she really needed someone to support her. Nora was sure her mom would comfort her, help and support her, but her mother only scolded her. "That's terrible." "Nora, I knew you'd lose this wonderful man. You're a total disappointment. I can't even imagine how much you pissed him off that he took home another woman. How are you going to live now? Where will you get the money? I'm sure they'll fire you now. Who needs a single mom on maternity leave?" Nora regretted calling her mom again and exclaimed, "Thank you for your support, Mom. Instead of encouraging me, you humiliated me again. I don't want to know anything about you anymore. You never even tried to understand me." After that incident, they didn't communicate for several years. Nora wanted to call her several times but stopped herself. If her mother called her, she answered indifferently, letting her know. She didn't want to talk to her, and now Nora was on her way to her village and was very anxious. How would their meeting go? Would her mother want to tell her about her father? Would she be happy to see her grandchild? Would she even let them into the house? Nora didn't want to communicate with her mom because of her bad temper. Kate had only seen her grandson Harry a few times, and it made Granny very sad. Besides, she had a neighbor, Vivian, whose house was always crowded, and it made Kate even more sad. Vivian's grandchildren were visiting her very often. They had dinner together in the gazebo. Her grandchildren hugged her and called her their beloved grandmother. Nora's mom often looked at them and blamed herself. "Why am I doing this to Nora? The truth is that I want the best for my sweet girl, but for some reason I only scold and insult her. Her husband turned out to be a scoundrel. She was going through a painful divorce. I should have comforted her, called her home, and helped her. But all I did was blame her for the divorce. Why? What is wrong with me? And now I'm all alone. If I die, no one will even remember me." Suddenly the gate opened, and Kate's dog Rocky began to bark loudly. Nora was standing on the threshold with Harry, hesitating to enter. Kate got very excited, rushed to hug her daughter and said through her tears, "Nora, sweetheart, you're here. I'm so happy. Harry's so big already. It's been so long since I've seen you. Come inside. Give me your bag. I've just made a pie and some chicken." Nora exhaled and smiled. "Hi, Mom. Finally you're happy instead of grumpy. We won't stay long. I have to go to work on Monday. I'll get changed and help you now. Harry, get changed and go to the farm. There are so many animals there." The happy child immediately changed his clothes, trying to catch Luna the cat at the same time, and then went for a walk. The women sat down at the table and began to talk. Nora asked cautiously, "Mom, you never told me about my dad no matter how many times I asked. Why?" Nora's mother continued, "I had no idea he would show up in our lives again so many years later. When he went to jail, the stolen money and jewelry were never found. Apparently. He was recently released and is now living his best life. I'm not even surprised that his current business is just a scam. You should quit his company, Nora, and you better give him his car back and move out of the apartment. Your father is incapable of noble deeds. His whole life is a lie. Please don't believe what he says. If you're in trouble, come to me, but you should stop communicating with him. It won't end well. Now I'm scared too because he found out about you somehow, so he's been following you. That means he knows about me too, and Harry is in danger. He's a terrible man, and you can only expect trouble from him." Nora was silent for a moment and then replied, "Thanks for telling me everything, Mom. I wish I had known all this before. Don't worry, we'll get through this together. I'll leave Harry with you for now, just in case. I feel more comfortable that way. I'll try to get the truth out of my father." and I will definitely move out of his apartment. I don't need such gifts. I thought he was really happy that he found his daughter." Nora talked to her mother for a long time, and the misunderstanding and resentment between them finally disappeared. The woman returned to the city and went back to work, but now she began to take pictures of everything cautiously, to listen to everything and look closely, secretly collecting information. She was shocked at how her father deceived people and lured their money out of them. Many people had invested the last of their money, hoping to make a good profit without realizing that they had already lost it all. Nora didn't want to be a part of it anymore and filed a letter of resignation. She went to her father's office and put her apartment and car keys on his desk. Philip was puzzled and asked, "Nora, what's wrong? Have you decided to quit? Why? You're not satisfied with your salary? I'm paying you a lot? Or you don't like the apartment? I don't understand." The woman was shaking with anger. "Dad, tell me, who are you? How, and most importantly, why did you find me? What do you want from me? My mom told me everything that you hate her and said you would take revenge. I don't believe you've suddenly developed fatherly feelings. Besides, it turned out that your business is nothing but a scam. You're deceiving people and involving me in all of this. I don't want that, Dad. I'm sorry, but this is the end of our communication. I have enough problems and don't want to add one more problem to my life." Philip's facial expression suddenly changed dramatically. His gaze became very angry, and he was almost shouting. "Do you think I should be grateful to your mother? She was the one who helped put me in jail for a long time. Yes, I was very mad at her and really wanted revenge. But when I started looking for her, I found out about you. I have no children. I was severely ill in jail and will never have any heirs. When I found out about you, I just wanted to help you because I can, because you're my daughter. And about the company, I don't advise you to mess with it. If you don't want to work here, quit. I really just wanted to bond with you, but it didn't work out. So you can go. I'm not holding you back, and I'm not going to take revenge on you or your mother. Live any way you want." Nora ran out of the office. There was a violent storm in her soul. She had always wanted to know who her daddy was, dreaming that someday they would meet, that he would find her, and they would become best friends. But now it turned out that her daddy was in jail, that he was a murderer, he was scamming people, taking their last dime. So what is she supposed to do with this now? Call the police and tell them everything. But he is her father. What if he really just wanted to help her? Nora went to the apartment she lived in out of habit, and only then realized that she had already returned the keys to her father and left her suitcases in the storage room. The woman sat down on a bench in confusion and started looking for another apartment online on her phone. Suddenly, a stranger approached her and timidly called out to her, "Good afternoon. May I sit down next to you? My name is Max. I saw that you lived in apartment number 38. Did you buy it? The thing is, this is my apartment. I've lived in it all my life. Recently, I owned a pretty successful auto repair shop, and then this jerk Philip showed up. He tried to persuade and then force me to sell him my business. I refused, and then he decided to kidnap me so that I would sign all the papers they wanted. So they took away my business and my apartment. At least they didn't kill me. However, they intimidated me, saying that if I went to the police, they would kill my sick mother. Now I live with my mom in her apartment because I have almost no money. I work as a manager now. But I still come here sometimes. I saw you and decided to tell you everything. How did you manage to buy this apartment?" Nora was shocked. Tears glistened in Max's eyes, and she didn't doubt that he was telling the truth. She instantly felt ashamed of her father. What on earth was this? He had just ruined a man's life and would not be punished for it. No, the decision immediately came to her mind, and all doubts dissipated. The woman answered, "My name is Nora. Unfortunately, Philip is my father, except I didn't know anything about him until recently. Now I regret that I met him. I only recently learned the whole truth about him, and the truth is terrible, you know." "I believe you. We can't just leave it like this. Let's do the following. I'll rent a place and hopefully get a job. I have about a week to do that. Then I have to pick up my son from his grandmother's, and then you and I will go to the police together. I have some dirt on him, and you'll also tell them everything you know. Maybe they'll help you get your apartment back. You're right, my father is a terrible man, and his crimes cannot go unpunished. I'll help you in any way I can, I promise." Max exclaimed, "Look, Nora, come to the company where I work. Maybe there's an opening for you there? I'll text you the address now. Also, my mom's neighbor has an apartment for rent. I'll call her right now and find out everything. Thank you for your decision to help me." Max exclaimed, "Look, Nora, come to the company where I work. Maybe there's an opening for you there? I'll text you the address now. Also, my mom's neighbor has an apartment for rent. I'll call her right now and find out everything. Thank you for your decision to help me." Suddenly, Nora's phone rang. It was the boss from her previous job where she had been dismissed. Nick spoke confusedly. "Nora, I'm glad you answered the call. I'm sorry I didn't believe you right away and I kicked you out of my company, but it turned out that you were right. My most loyal employees almost bankrupted me, but thanks to your words, I was alert and didn't sign the papers. They're all fired, and I'm very grateful to you. It turned out that you saved my business and my life in general. Nora, please come back. You're a very valuable employee. I can't cope without you. I promise no more extra hours and no more calls on weekends." Nora was very excited and immediately agreed. She smiled. "Well, the job issue has been solved. I'm so glad. I was so worried because it's hard to find a good job in my specialty. So what's left is to find an apartment, and then we'll go to the police. It's very hard for me to file a report against my father. But what he's doing is terrible. No one has the right to ruin people's lives and deprive them of money." At the police station, they talked to the investigator Rowan. When he heard the whole story and looked at the dirt Nora had given him, he whistled. As soon as Philip got out of jail, he started all over again. Apparently he is deceiving innocent people again. No, there will be no mercy for him this time. Nowadays, people have become more aware. They are talking about scammers everywhere.
But still, gullible people bring their money to such scammers. Max, why didn't you go to the police right away? It would have been much easier to handle the case that way. We would have proved the bastard's guilt right away, and you would have kept the apartment and the auto repair shop too. Now he's probably sold everything.
Max agreed. "You're right. Now I realize it myself, but at the time he scared me. I had only seen such things in movies. I was scared, so I signed everything they demanded. I wondered how he managed to bring the notary to those abandoned garages. By the way, I still remember his last name. Even notaries have become wicked. They work for criminals." The investigator nodded. "It's good that you remember the last name of that notary, but I think the notary was fake too. Nowadays, no notary would want to ruin his reputation like that. Anyway, we'll figure it out. We will arrest this scoundrel today, I promise you that." Nora, thank you. I realize you had a difficult choice to make. Thank you for choosing the side of good instead of evil. Philip was arrested, as well as his fictitious company. Together with him, several other organizers were arrested. They also found the notary. He turned out to be a convicted person, so the deal was declared invalid and the apartment was returned to its previous owner. Now Philip was not only accused of fraud but also of crimes against Max. Nora was also summoned to court to testify. It was probably the most difficult ordeal for her. She told everything she knew, and her father whispered angrily, looking at her, "She's such a fool. I only wanted to make her rich and happy." But she betrayed her father. She's the same as her mother. I hate them both. I should have gotten revenge on them. I relaxed too soon and decided to play the family game. Philip went to jail for years. Nora called her mom and said in a trembling voice, "Mom, Father went to jail again. There was a trial today. You know, I feel so crappy because I testified against my father. He looked at me with such hatred." The woman sighed and replied, "Don't worry, sweetie, and don't torture yourself. You did the right thing." Philip always thought only about money. He was obsessed with a beautiful life but didn't want to work or achieve anything. He didn't care about people. He was ready to commit the most cruel crimes just to get more money. And he didn't really love me, I don't think so. He was just having fun, that's it. If your father really wanted to do something good for you, he would never involve you in a crime. So he belongs in jail. I'm even glad he's in jail now. Neither you nor me nor Harry will be in any danger. Nora agreed with her mom and said, "Mommy, you know, I think I fell in love with Max, the guy whose business and apartment Dad took away. We're dating now. Please don't tell me it's not going to work out. I hope now I'll finally get lucky and we'll be together." Kate replied, "No, daughter, I want you to be happy. If Max is the right man for you, then I support you completely. You deserve to be loved and to have a good life. Just be cautious and take your time. I'm here for you." Nora felt relieved and hopeful. Finally, she had the support of her mother and a chance at a new beginning with Max. I won't say that. On the contrary, I wish you happiness. Let everything work out for you. I'm waiting for you all to visit. The relationship between Nora and Max started very quickly and unexpectedly. After Max got his apartment back, he immediately invited Nora to visit. The couple decided to celebrate. Max bought a small airplane for little Harry, made chicken in the oven, and set the table. They had dinner together like a real family. Harry immediately liked Max and played with him for a long time before getting tired and falling asleep on his lap. Nora was surprised. "You know, my son began to trust you very quickly, as if you've known each other for a long time. He misses a man's attention. My ex-husband has forgotten that Harry exists. He doesn't even call him, but today I noticed that Harry has become a little happier. Thank you, Max. You're a wonderful man. Why are you single?" Max sighed and replied, "I don't even know what to say. I've had relationships in my life. I even almost got married once, but I've never really loved anyone. Believe it or not, I've never felt as good as I do with you. I guess I was always looking for someone like you, kind, gentle, for whom family always comes first." "Nora, you know we're not teenagers anymore. Why would we waste precious time dating? I can see that the feelings are mutual. Marry me. I have a good apartment and a job. Maybe we can even save up some money, and I can start my own business again. You'll help me with the paperwork and reports. I'll love Harry and never hurt him. Don't worry, I'm not rushing you. Think about it, but I'll always be there for you. Just remember that." The woman hugged her fiancé and replied, "I have already made up my mind. I agree. Loneliness is a hard ordeal for a woman. I'm sure that everything will work out with you and me. You understand me like nobody else and support me in everything. I will never find a better husband." Max kissed Nora tenderly and whispered, "Then move in tomorrow. Why delay? Harry will be so happy. I'll teach him how to ride a bicycle." Nora moved in with her fiancé, and they began to live like a happy family. The woman even looked better because now she was loved again. She rushed home from work and always cooked something delicious to treat her family. Kate was also very happy for her. She quickly made friends with Max, and they visited Max's mom every weekend. The couple saved enough money during the year, and Max opened a car repair shop again. Gradually, the business was growing. It seemed that all the troubles in their lives were over, and there was only happiness and peace ahead. It would have been so if it hadn't been for Nora's ex-husband, who showed up quite unexpectedly. The woman was leaving the office when she suddenly saw Alex on the porch. He looked really bad, nervous, and had lost a lot of weight. The man had a bouquet of crumpled flowers in his hands. Nora was surprised. "Alex, what are you doing here? I'm not happy to see you. What do you want?" The man shifted from foot to foot and started to speak. "Hi. Nora, you look wonderful. I just wanted to say that I made a mistake when I divorced you. I know I hurt you a lot. I acted like a jerk. It's just that I was hypnotized by Lisa. I didn't realize what I was doing. I traded my family for that hooker. She cheated on me. Can you imagine? I worked so hard, bought expensive gifts for her, and spoiled her, but she lied to me. The other day I came home early without warning her. I wanted to surprise her, but it turned out like a bad joke. I found them in my apartment, in my bed. Anyway, Lisa and I are no longer together. I kicked her out. I realized what a mistake I'd made. I love you, Nora, and I miss Harry very much. Let's start all over again. We were so happy together, do you remember?" The woman was shocked at such insolence and replied sharply, "Alex, are you serious? You took your mistress into the apartment where your wife and son lived, and now you expect me to forget all of this? You literally kicked me and Harry out on the street. You never called, never cared about your son, never did anything to help him, and now, when your mistress left you, you decided to come back to us? What are you hoping for? I'm sorry, but you're too late. I have another husband now, and Harry has a father who loves him dearly and spends all his time with him. We are happy together. Go away, Alex. We have nothing to talk about." Alex was angry because he was sure that he would talk to Nora and she would immediately forgive him because she used to love him so madly. He threw the flowers on the pavement angrily and said, "So you already have another man? I see you also didn't waste your time. Well, who is he and what makes him better than me? You were happy with me. You know, Nora, I won't let you live in peace, and I'll pick up my son whenever I want to." Nora was shocked and tried to reason with her ex-husband. "What do you mean you're going to pick him up whenever you want? Harry is not a toy. Yes, he remembered you and longed for you at first, but it's been a long time now. You'll scare him. Unfortunately, I cannot forbid you to see your son. But only when I am around and only if Harry wants to. That's it, Alex. Goodbye. Nora walked away, tapping her heels, and Alex looked after her with longing and anger, grumbling, "It's still going to be the way I want it to be, Nora." The next day, Alex showed up at Max's apartment. He followed Nora and found out where she lived. Harry saw his father and got excited. "Daddy." "Hi. Did you come to visit me?" "Daddy, I already know how to write almost all the letters and I can count to 100. Max taught me. Do you want me to show you what kind of helicopter Max and I made out of paper?" It was so unpleasant for Alex to hear that some stranger was around his son now. Alex answered, "Why don't we go to my place, Harry, to the apartment where your mom and I used to live? Or let's just go for a walk. I'll buy you ice cream and cotton candy. Do you want some?" The boy mumbled confusedly, I don't know, Daddy. I like being here with Max and Mommy. Can Max come with us too?" Alex's face twisted in anger, but he forced a smile and said, "Sure, Harry, whatever you want. Let's go talk to your mom about it." Nora came to the door, sensing the tension. "Alex, what are you doing here? You can't just show up unannounced and expect to take Harry away. If you want to spend time with him, we need to arrange it properly. He needs stability, not sudden changes." Alex's voice rose. "I am his father and I have every right to see him. You can't keep him away from me." Nora remained calm. "I'm not keeping him away from you. But you need to respect our life now. We are happy, and I won't let you disrupt that. If you really care about Harry, you'll do this the right way. We can talk about visitation, but not like this." Max stepped in. "Alex, we all want what's best for Harry. Let's sit down and discuss a proper arrangement. No more surprises." Alex clenched his fists but nodded reluctantly. "Fine. But this isn't over, Nora. I'll be back." As Alex walked away, Nora hugged Harry tightly. "Don't worry, sweetie. Everything will be fine." Max reassured them both. "We'll handle this together, Nora. You're not alone anymore. I don't know. I have to ask my mom. We can go only if she lets us." Alex freaked out. "I'm your dad, and I don't need to ask anyone's permission. Get dressed and let's go home, son." The boy, frightened by the yelling, started crying and ran away. Nora shook her head and said, "See what you've done? You only scared him, Alex. You can't do that. Why did you even come? If you really missed your son, why didn't you follow him to the nursery? He wanted to show you everything he has." "I won't let my son go to your place, at least not until he wants to. But now you're doing everything you can to make sure that doesn't happen. Alex, a child is not a toy. You either have to love him and take care of him or stay out of his life. Now you suddenly realize that you have a son and decided to play with him, but soon you'll get bored of him and disappear from his life again, and the child will suffer." The man got angry. "Are you trying to teach me how to live my life? You had fun with your lover and forced Harry to live in his apartment, but I'm sure that jerk is turning my son against me. Why can't I pick up my son? I have the same rights as you. Is that clear? I'm not saying goodbye. I'll be back for my son soon." Nora sank down into a chair, covered her face with her hands, and cried. Max comforted her as best he could. The woman sobbed. "Just a year ago, I would have given anything to be with Alex, to have him fight for his son, but back then, he didn't need Harry or me. But even now, I don't understand why Alex is doing this. I know he doesn't care about his son, he scared the child, and he won't give up." Nora nodded. "Exactly. Have you noticed that too? I don't mind them communicating and I've never prevented them from that, but he can't be so sharp with the child. Alex wasn't like that before." That day, Harry was building a sandcastle with his friend at the kindergarten. The weather was cold and windy. The boy was already cold and was waiting for his mom or Max to pick him up. Suddenly he heard from behind the fence, "Harry dear, hello. I've come for you. I'll pick you up myself today. Come on, let's go. Look what toy I bought you." The boy smiled and was greatly surprised. "Daddy, hi. Are you picking me up today? Did Mommy say it's okay?" Yay, the caregiver saw what was going on and walked over to Alex. "Good afternoon, are you Harry's father? I haven't seen you in a while. Is Nora aware of what's going on? I hope there won't be any problems." The man got mad. "I'm Harry's father and I came to pick up my son from kindergarten." What problems could there be? Goodbye. Happy Harry got into the car and kept talking all the way, telling everything he could think of. But when they drove out of the city, the boy got very frightened. "Daddy, where are we going? I want to go home to my mom. She'll be worried. I don't want to upset her." Alex replied nervously, "Harry, don't be scared. You're a man. It's just a game, son. We are going to a secret place. We'll live there for a while and then Mommy will take you home, okay?" The boy was quiet but very anxious. After all, Mom didn't say anything about going out of the city with Dad. On the contrary, she always warned Harry not to go anywhere with his father unless Mom knew about it. The situation was strange. They drove for a long time along the dusty road. Finally, Alex pulled up in front of some house. He opened the rusty lock and took the kid inside. There was a lot of dust around. The boy sneezed and said, "Daddy, let's get out of here. I don't like it here. I don't want to live here. I miss my mom. Take me home." Alex frowned and thought, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sick of this silly boy. I can't wait for this to be over. Let Nora take her son. He's nothing like me. I'm a real man, but all he does is whine and complain. I don't need a son like this." But aloud, he only replied cheerfully, "Harry, I told you it's an adventure game. Don't cry. I bought us pizza. We're going to have dinner now. Don't be sad. Let's have fun." But the boy got really scared. His daddy wasn't the same. He was acting strangely, yelling. So eventually the boy cried loudly, "I don't want to eat pizza. I want to go home to my mom and Max. He's kind, and he loves me. Take me home, Daddy." The man was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. He pushed the boy into the bedroom, threw a box of pizza and juice on the table, and shouted loudly, "Stay here and be quiet. I can't take your whining anymore." Harry, terrified, huddled in the corner of the dusty bedroom, sobbing uncontrollably. Alex stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind him. He paced the living room, running his hands through his hair, feeling trapped and helpless. Meanwhile, Nora, worried about Harry, tried calling Alex several times, but he didn't answer. Panic began to set in. She knew something was terribly wrong. She called Max and told him everything. Max immediately contacted the police and gave them all the details about Alex and Harry. The police quickly located the abandoned house. When they arrived, they found Harry crying in the bedroom and Alex in a state of agitation. The officers took Alex into custody and returned Harry to Nora, who hugged her son tightly, tears streaming down her face. Max arrived shortly after and comforted both Nora and Harry. "It's over now," he said softly. "You and Harry are safe. We'll get through this together." Nora nodded, grateful for Max's unwavering support. She knew she had to take legal action to ensure Alex couldn't come near Harry again. With Max and the authorities on her side, she felt a renewed sense of strength and determination to protect her son and build a peaceful, happy life for their family. "I've had enough of your tantrums. You're punished now. You're going to stay in this room. The food is on the table. I have to leave. I'll be back soon." He locked up the crying child, went outside, and started dialing Nora's number. She must be looking for her son already. "Nora, why did you take Harry away? Why didn't you warn us? Give Harry the phone and take him home now, otherwise, I'm going to the police. What kind of stupid joke is this?" The man coughed and replied indifferently, "All right, Nora, listen to me. If you want to see your son again, bring $50,000 to the appointed place tomorrow. I'm in trouble. I need the money. If you go to the police, you won't see Harry again. I took him far away. You won't be able to find him." Nora shouted, "Now I see why you were doing it. You're a monster. Give the child back now. I thought you really missed your son, but you are just a jerk. Oh my goodness, my poor baby. Alex, come to your senses and bring him back." But Alex dropped the call and laughed evilly, thinking to himself, "Done. Tomorrow that stupid woman will give me the money to get Harry back. I'll be rich and leave this city forever, and no one will find me." The man filled a syringe with liquid, his hands trembling, and injected himself. His whole body immediately relaxed, and he felt good. In fact, Lisa had never cheated on Alex. He had made it all up and deliberately lied. He just got really sick and tired of her, so he kicked her out. His whole life was slowly falling apart after he divorced Nora. First, he wrecked the car, and his boss told him to pay a huge fine. Needless to say, he didn't have that amount of money, so the man began to think about where to get the money. That's when his old friend showed up in his life. He gave Alex the money. Alex quickly paid off his debt but was fired from his job. But his friend helped him again, giving him a job as a drug courier. Instead of his first paycheck, his friend gave Alex some drugs. That was it. Alex's life was completely ruined. Alex paid back the money his friend gave him within a month and even wanted to give up drugs, but he couldn't. His addiction had completely consumed him, and when he had no money for another dose, he decided to kidnap his own son. Having learned that Nora lived with a rich entrepreneur, the man planned to get the money and go far away, where neither his friend nor the police would find him. He was not going to raise his son, and he realized that it was no longer possible considering his lifestyle. Nora was going crazy with anxiety. She was crying all the time and didn't understand where to look for her little boy. Max urged her to go to the police. "Honey, look, where's the guarantee that even if we give him the money, your ex-husband will let the child go? He's insane. We don't even know what he's thinking about. We can't risk Harry's life. Let's go to the police. They helped me get my apartment back, and I'm sure they'll help us save Harry." The woman agreed, and they went to the police again and filed a report. Child kidnapping is a very serious case, but when the investigator found out that the child was with his biological father, he hesitated. Well, technically the child is with his father. Alex has the right to communicate with his son, but the fact that he is demanding money is a crime. "We don't have much time. First, we're going to try to track him through his phone. We don't know what your ex-husband is up to, but he's inadequate, which means the boy is in danger." Using modern technology, the location of the phone was found with an accuracy of a few meters. The police immediately headed to the right place. They realized that since Alex had not changed his phone for secrecy, he was not afraid of anything. When the police burst into the house, Alex was on drugs. They knocked down the bedroom door and rescued poor frightened Harry. When he finally saw his mom, he rushed to her in tears. She kissed and hugged him. "My dear boy, my sunshine. We found you, baby. Don't cry. Everything is over. Were you frightened?" "Yes, Mommy, I was very frightened. I didn't know where Daddy had taken me. He didn't hurt me, but he was acting strange, shouting, and then he locked me up. Why did he become like that, Mom? Why? He used to love me, I remember." Nora wiped her tears and didn't know what to say to her son. She didn't understand how Alex could do that either, how he could decide to kidnap his son. Max said quietly, "Harry, you know, your dad just got sick and doesn't really understand what he's doing. But he'll undergo treatment soon. Don't be afraid of anything. Your dad won't come to you again. Besides, I will always be there for you and won't let anyone hurt you or your mom. Do you believe me?" The boy believed. He calmed down and felt safe. Then he looked at Max in some mature way and asked, "I don't want Daddy to come to me. I'm afraid of him. Max, can you become my daddy forever? You're not going to leave me and my mom like my dad, are you? I don't want my mom to cry." Nora couldn't stand it and cried again. Her son was only 6, but he was already talking about such serious things. Max felt as if everything inside of him was turned upside down because of the child's words. He took the boy in his arms and told him seriously, "Harry, I promise you I will always be there for you. Your mom and I will be married soon and you will be my son. Thank you for believing me. I promise I won't let you down." Alex was forced to undergo compulsory treatment, and then there was a trial. He was too afraid to mention his friend and claimed he had acted alone. The court found him guilty of kidnapping and extortion, and he was sentenced to a long prison term. Nora was called to testify, and it was a very difficult ordeal for her, but she faced it with strength and courage. When everything was finally over, Nora and Max started to rebuild their lives. They got married in a small, intimate ceremony, surrounded by close friends and family. Harry was happy and loved, and the dark times seemed to be behind them. Max's business continued to grow, and Nora found peace and happiness in their new life together. He was the only one guilty.
When his mind became clearer, Alex even wanted to kill himself. He realized what he had done, that he had lost his son. How did it happen that he decided to trade his loving wife and son for another woman? Alex could not understand it, and it made him feel very bad.
Meanwhile, Nora and Max had a wedding. Everyone congratulated the young couple and wished them happiness and love. Little Harry wore a suit and tie, and he and his grandmother Kate were happy for his parents and danced. When they gave him a microphone, he turned very serious and said, "Dad and Mom, I love you and I really want a brother, but I don't want to have a sister." Girls are all cranky. Everyone laughed and shouted, "Be happy." Max kissed his spouse and whispered, "Harry is right, but I want to have both a boy and a girl." Nora smiled and felt absolutely happy. They sipped some champagne and began to dance a waltz. Max turned out to be a great father and loving husband. He sincerely loved Harry and every night whispered to Nora how much he loved her, lovingly stroking her big belly. She had to go through a lot before she found her happiness, but she didn't regret what had happened to her. She was convinced that everything that happens is always for the best.